I just made a longer video after watching Alex Christopherou's Clown World of today. And in this longer video I was thinking about running as an independent in the EU to promote a republic, a constitutional change for the EU, and changing it into a copy-paste of the Constitution of America. After all, we are just its vassals. So give us at least not just your military and your bases, but also your constitution, with a small adaptation to it, in which then the population becomes part of the defense force as well. Then problem solved with recruitment, I would say. But after I made that video, I thought to myself also, what would be the promise I would make to those people who would vote for this independent, candidate? I will tell you what I would do. I would become like a Robin Hood. I would give that 60,000 euro as an MP to my community here, where I have a direct influence on things. That's where I would spend the 60,000 euro. It's tax-free. I keep my private earned insurance money with my pension handicap, just like I have now. And I would gladly serve the people of my communities here with that 60,000 euro, without changing anything then in that parliament, in that totalitarian regime. I would still change something locally around me with that 60,000 euro per month. I guarantee you, I can think immediately of the lady I was speaking of here next door with 2 children and severe diabetes, who has to choose a lot of times between medicines, going to the hospital and treatment, etc., or feeding herself. Yeah. Then I can think of an old lady here across the street. Her son recently died. She was already a widow, with a very small pension as well, few hundred lei per month. Okay, yeah, you can argue they have their house for free. It's true. They are all owners of houses paid in 99.9% of the time. The house is paid, so no mortgage like in the West, but still a lot of poverty. Hence that young Romanian people tend to go away to Germany, England, the USA, the Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, wherever they think they can make more money, only to find out that the cost of living in the Netherlands is vastly more than you had when you lived with mommy and daddy in the village, where there was no cost of the house. Not such high electricity costs, although they have been risen during this Ukraine bullshit and COVID, etc. But regardless those, your costs in Romania were drastically lower, just based on that fact that a house in the Netherlands, for example, will be minimum, if you get one. I'm on a waiting list still for more than, let me see, 2012, so 12 years. And I'm still on the waiting list. And I will stay on the waiting list, because when you go off the list, you have to start again, as I found out Oh hell yeah, the beautiful system in the Netherlands. Then you pay for this house minimum 650 euros. So, poof, there goes your dream of sending a lot of money to your parents or grandparents in Romania. I dare to say, if I would run for an MP and take that 60,000 euro and then invest in a few smart young guys around this village, in providing them materials, they are smart enough to get work. You don't need to teach them this, but they lack then the funding of, let's say, a good excavator or whatever stuff for construction. If I would be able to provide them this and a guaranteed fixed salary when the periods are, a little bit less like the seasons are in construction, for example, or in the agricultural world. It's with the seasons. The winter time you have less work. Yet, if they would still have an income, that 60,000 euro would go a huge way around my village, my community in general. Like really, I would develop so many business plans here for locals and young people, you have no idea. I would turn this village with that 60,000 euro per month. I would turn this village into a transition town where the people would have free energy. Free energy. Yeah, I would buy solar panels just like a German mayor showed an example in 2010, 2012, how he transformed his village by simply putting solar panels on the roofs of the people in the village for free. So the community paid for those panels, and that rest energy that got pumped back into the system, that allowed at some point to buy more panels and more panels and more panels, and he kept spreading them out over the village. And eventually all that money accumulated to such an amount that they built sportszalen for free, not from taxes from the people, taken from the people for free. Out of that profit, they built gradenices. They made sure that young people got housing in the neighborhood instead of having to move away from family and where they grew up. Brilliant idea. So yeah, I dare to say that will be my promise. If people would indeed vote for this village idiot as a MP, like a Robin Hood, like a modern Robin Hood, I would steal without real stealing. I would give it actually back. You can call me Eisengrim. That's my call sign. Robin Hood was already taken. So, like I said, it would go a long way in these kind of rural areas. Now you can call me a communist, a commie, a socialist, whatever the fuck you want. No, I'm not. I'm a Republican who would be honored if he was allowed to serve the people. And yes, of course, like I said in my other video, those people who serve us, we need to serve them as well, to some extent. Not be subservient, no. But yeah, we need to provide them, of course, with means of living while they are serving us and not working somewhere a job. It's logic, right? But it doesn't have to come from taxes. No, sir. Because if we take our central bank in our own hands and print our own money in Europe instead of borrowing it from some private entity who then magically prints it out of thin air. Huh? If we would have that central bank of our own, with an armed population even to protect it, well, I dare to say we do not have to pay income taxes. It's that simple, just like the founding fathers of America reasoned. But hey, you have to start small, right? So first have to get into that EU Parliament. Well, if you would like to see how that would pan out, me or someone else who would think like me, some other one, a younger guy, representative, maybe even that guy who blew the whistle, like few others before him, by the way. Let's be honest, it's common knowledge about this theft that takes place in the EU Parliament. So let's see if someone like him or me with that mindset would give away that money every month to something that benefits his local, directly his local community. Be it caring for some elderly people, making sure that, for example, practical help. The house gets repaired, so that repair guy gets paid. That kind of things can be very, very practical. Safety, the chimney. Here they use firewood. We need to clean the chimneys. This old lady can barely pay for it, nor do it herself that easy. These kind of practical things and solutions can be paid for, right? If she needs at some point assistance, her son has died recently, she was already a widow, there is no one else. The neighbors, we, the community. We help, we care. But it would be great if we would have a system for it, right? That kind of guarantees this kind of practical help. Appoint a nurse who comes to help and aid and wash the lady so she is not afraid to break her hip. These kind of practical things help to arrange, like we do in the Netherlands, that kind of system, elderly care. Help to arrange that they have stable holding and footing where they need to take a bath alone. These kind of simple, practical things I would do with 60,000 euro per month. I promise. Holy promise to God. Yeah. This village idiot would use, abuse, misuse, if you like, the system that way until other people think it's, actually a great example to follow. Maybe not to the same extreme. After all, I have an income and I want to keep it. I have no need for higher. It's enough for me where I live. You should be happy. My house is paid and all the money I need is to feed myself, to do some little renovations, and most of all to help and set up this dog shelter. Private property run dog shelter. That way I am sure they don't kill them. After all, the state-run shelters, after 2 weeks, they will be euthanized if not adopted. Sad but true. And you know what they say, you can measure the society by how they treat the weak, the innocent, their prisoners, those who depend upon them. You can tell a lot about that society. And I believe in a direct change. First you need to change yourself. That means a hard look in the mirror, trust me. Also for you out there, with your porn or whatever. Whatever. A hard look in the mirror. Are you really the person you pretend to be? Are you really that virtuous? Are you really that sure about the things you think to know? Is it really impossible for these politicians to have a hidden agenda when they make 60,000 euros per month by keeping that scam going? Is it really that hard to think that if I can make money, poof, by listening here to the church bells, and then when I go to Brussels, every time when I sign in, I make another 350 euros while walking out the door again, because I don't want to listen to the other MP. Jeez, my neighbor here makes 350 euros while working 3 shifts. Now she has less, about 70%, I believe. Pensioneerde bollen. So imagine I walk into that parliament every day, flying of course, flying to Brussels, that goes without saying. And if I drive, I get also travel expenses for it and a chauffeur, etc. So I can sleep in the back. Then I sign in 350 euros and I will go back home. Here to my little house, my dog shelter, my little village with simple Romanian, Transylvanian, I like to call them people. Not Romanian, it's a mix, Hungarians, Romanians, Slavs, French, Dutch, German, Dutch, Hungarians, etc. It's a mix. So I like to call it Transylvanians. That's a nice ring to it. You know, I care about them. I would give that away every day. Every single day. And then I would run for mayor of this town. And I would keep my promise, like I said, I would make it a transition town. I make the houses totally fireproof, well insulated, energy efficient, forever CO2 absorbing, totally CO2 negative. I would make this village. And the people in it, as much as possible, independent, autonomous from the bigger national level. That's how I would build my nation. From that and then from the ground up. Copy, paste, kiss, keep it simple. I would really just keep doing it, and the next comuna, next comuna, next comuna, next comuna. I would just keep doing it. I would love to do it. It would be my pleasure. And then yes, keep the scam going in the EU while I help transforming my comunas around me by using this scam. Isn't that a great idea? Well, it's a holy promise, like I said. Think about it. Maybe I'm not such a village idiot after all. Maybe a village villain, stealing that EU money to give back to the poor. But Well, I like that thought. I hope you too. Have a nice day. Stay safe wherever you are.